lifestyle modification, youth, and cardiovascular prevention. Thank you so much, ma'am. Sorry, you can continue. PPD. Fun.
Thank you and good afternoon. So, I'll be talking about the lifestyle management in youth to prevent heart disease. Although maximum of that has been talked about in the previous lecture, but I will still stress on few things which are important, particularly in our younger generation. Can we have our slides, please? Make it full. Category concept. Okay, anyway. So, let me say that there are seven simple ways to live better. So, this is the verse we always quote that we treat and Allah cures. So, keeping your health simply. So, I will talk about the common heart diseases. I will not go into elaboration. We have so many heart diseases, but few common I will name here. Like we have heart attack in common terms we call, but myocardial infarction in medical term, and arrhythmias where there is some heart rhythm disorders. So, usually presenting as palpitations, skip beats, or sometimes even syncope or fall, giddiness. Then certain cardiac arrest. So we have seen this more common in the last few years. In our valley as well, we have seen so many sudden deaths. So in cardiology or as a heart specialist, we usually group them together as a certain cardiac arrest. And then we have some congenital heart disease. They are also common here because of consanguinity. So the risk factors, we already have talked about this, but I will just quote these here that unhealthy diet, we all know it has been elaborated in the previous lecture. The lack of exercise, we all have these. We don't exercise as much as we should. And obesity, smoking, and multiple ways of smoking, not only cigarette, there are other smokings as well. And particularly for the youth, I say that e-cigarettes and other things are coming up. So then mental stress already has been talked about. Excessive alcohol, not so common, but still being used here. High blood pressure, high blood sugars, and abnormal cholesterol. These all are the risk factors for developing heart disease. And there are very simple ways to do it. As we have daily, we make our choices which color to wear or how to fix our hair. So we have to take decisions how to keep ourselves healthy. So I will talk about simple seven that we should avoid smoking or using any kind of tobacco products. Then be physically active every day. Eat a heart healthy diet. We'll talk about these in next few slides. Keep a healthy weight, keep your blood pressure and cholesterol under level, keep your blood sugar healthy, and stress, tackle anxiety and stress as already has been talked about because these are the emerging risk factors for heart disease. Stress is one of the most common lately coming up. Many theories, many studies have been done on this stress, taking to the heart attacks. So many heart diseases have come after stress levels go high. So don't smoke or use smoked tobacco. So be it cigarettes or any kind of nicotine, they are not safe. So they almost damage every organ of the body, and using smokeless tobacco is not a safe alternative. So these are the chemicals we usually see in smoke or smokeless tobacco. Secondhand smoke is dangerous too. We usually try to say that others are smoking, we are safe, no issues. But if you are smelling the smoke, you are taking chemicals into your body, and that will definitely affect in the long term. So there are different pressures for smoking. Suppose your friend says, कि, oh, no problem, take a puff, कोई बात नहीं, इससे से क्या होगा? So you can simply say no. There are multiple ways to say. Be direct. Sometimes I don't want to take, please, don't pressurize me. Or you can change the subject if you are not able to say directly no. Or you can crack a joke that no thanks, I'm a big fan of breathing. Or like that, you can kind of say anything. Or walk away simply. And blame it on something else. You can say no multiple ways. Avoid the situation. More important is that as the famous dialogue of that movie was, no means no. So you should say no to smoking, and tell your friends that smoking can kill. This is a tobacco cessation algorithm. I will not go into the details of this. Second common is that we have to be physically active, and there are multiple recommendations. I will say in next slide. And the biggest enemy of activity these days, that's in our hands, mobile or smartphone or any kind of gadgets we have. So that's the biggest enemy actually. So we have multiple ways of going for the exercise, like we can cycle, we can go for jogging, brisk walk, aerobics in gym, gardening or jumping rope, multiple swimming, less common here, tennis, dancing, any kind of activity, physical activity is better. It's not that we say that I'm just walking, it's not an activity. You can have a simple walk as well. Then we have some recommendations for the primary prevention. Primary prevention means that before anybody develops the disease, that is the preventive phase, where we have recommendation of at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise or 90 minutes of vigorous exercise we can do daily, total week. Then for major weight loss, we need at least 7 hours of moderate or vigorous activity per week. And for diabetes also, it's 150 minutes per week of activities. Then secondary prevention, once a person develops the disease, after that he has to at least for 30 minutes per day and every day in the week he should do the activities. So the adverse effect of physical activity is it can lead to the body inflammation, dyslipidemia, where our cholesterol or triglycerides go high, your HDL levels go low. That can lead to diabetes, obesity, hypertension, along with other risk factors like smoking, aging you cannot reverse, then genetics. It all leads to atherosclerosis, which in coming time leads to the cardiovascular disease, multiple. So it is your turn to say that think of three things this week, that you have to be physically active and how many minutes you are working in the week. So as goes the famous saying of the Socrates that worthless people live only to eat and drink. People of worth eat and drink only to live. So eat a heart healthy diet. So healthy diets we can say that we can develop a good habits, whole grain, fruits, vegetables, low fat dairy products, then fish or nuts, and limit your sodium intake, sugary foods and beverages you can avoid, and try to avoid as much red meat as possible. So in all the drinks or anything you take from the market, we have this nutrition facts there. So you can start from the first line you can see, and you can check the total calories there. So you can limit the first few things like we have saturated fats, then cholesterol, sodium. You can try to limit the drinks or limit the chocolates, anything who has these higher levels. Then you can get enough of these like we have proteins, we have vitamins, multiple vitamins in all the things you can, and accordingly you can decide which thing to take or which not. So what can you do to eat heart healthy diet? You increase your fruit and vegetables, whole grain foods, then eat fish, limit your saturated and trans fats, limit your red meat intake. Then you can choose low fat dairy products. You can limit your sugar intake, limit your sodium intake, and take enough of water. So it is your turn to develop good habits. First, identify your good habits and try to develop it. And also, you have to identify your bad habits, like you snacking all day with less activity, taking too many sugary drinks. So you can even identify those and try to curtail the bad habits as much as possible. So then you can keep a healthy weight. There are multiple ways, like physical activity. We have already talked about the keeping the ideal weight. We have talked about the body mass index. So gaining too much weight, it is also dangerous. It can lead to multiple diseases like diabetes, heart diseases, high blood pressure, and even it can lead to some types of cancers as well. So we have talked about the body mass index. So we have talked about the body mass index. It is weight per height square in meters. So overweight, we have already talked. Obesity, we have three classes. So you have to calculate your energy intake. You keep on taking food multiple ways like chocolates or anything food, but you are not consuming it. You are not going for the physical activity. Obviously, it will lead to long-term consequences. So it is your turn how much you are eating. Are you eating out of habit or boredom instead of real hunger? And are you getting enough physical activity? And where can you make the improvements? You have to identify all those factors and accordingly tackle it. So for the blood pressure, we know that the ideal blood pressure these days, as per the recommendation, is less than systolic less than 120 and diastolic less than 80. So ideally, we should keep it blood pressures below 120, 80. That's the ideal scenario. But we know that with aging, it is not the ideal thing to keep BP on the lower side, because the people start feeling for the giddiness, they can have falls. So that was actually what Dr. Sir was telling us, that there are something for controversial topics in that area. But try to keep blood pressure as close to 120 systolic and as close to 80 as possible. It's not necessary that you keep it below that, but keep it as close as possible. Similarly, keep your cholesterol levels under control. We all need cholesterol in our body. That is important, we need. But too much, as the saying is, that excess of anything is bad. Similarly, it is for the cholesterol. So the recommendation for cholesterol is keep it as low as possible. That is the best thing you can do. Then we have multiple risk scores. So it's important and recommended that everyone above 25 years of age, he or she calculates about the ASCVD risk score. So you should know your risk score, and accordingly you can tackle it multiple ways. Be it physical activity, be it sometimes we need medications. Even at the younger age, few people may need medications, but maximally that can be done by the non-medication way. Similarly, you can follow specials for medications. Physical activity is the best way to help out. Blood sugars, diabetes has been talked in detail. I will not go for the diabetes here. It has been already talked. So, but important is that we should avoid smoking and using any kind of tobacco products, be physically active, keep our heart healthy, right, and then have a healthy weight. So the simple seven which I was talking, that we avoid smoking in any form, be physically active, eat a heart healthy diet, not heart healthy only, eat a healthy diet. Keep a healthy weight, keep your blood pressure as well as the cholesterol in the healthy levels, keep your blood sugars healthy, and stress you can avoid in multiple ways. Already for stress, multiple things have been talked, but I will just quote these few things before or simultaneously with the medication. You should slow down in your life, keep calm, be positive, take it easy, and enjoy life, have fun, breathe, relax, go outside. We can have meditation in multiple ways, and if all these things doesn't help, psychiatrist definitely should be there in the scenario. So, all these slides I talked, I think this is the most important slide which everyone should concentrate. Why I was talking about all those things. When we have a symptoms of heart disease, like we have chest pain or discomfort, which is not relieving, even after 10-20 minutes, it's not relieving. Or there is breathlessness, which is excessive breathlessness. Then we have palpitations, or we have fatigue, giddiness, or syncope. Don't panic. Most important thing is don't panic, but never ignore. Go to the nearest hospital, do your ECG, or you can do some cardiac enzymes like drop T. If they are saying that there is any problem, suggested immediately contact a heart specialist or contact a hospital where a heart disease can be tackled, because too much delay can be the last delay of life. So this is our institute, Srinagar MedCity. It is the first and only exclusive heart institute in Valley, where we tackle all heart problems. Thanks. If there are any questions, you can directly ask here, or you can note down the numbers, and any time you can ask these questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hakim Irfan Showkat, for an informative speech and on cardiac diseases and lifestyle modification. As we are reaching the culmination of today's program, it gives me immense pleasure in inviting Dean of Students Welfare and Finance Officer, Dr. Mehraldeen Shah, to address this august gathering.
Thank you, Dr. Shiba. I believe we have a couple of guests from District Hospital Gandarbal, and we have other guests from the other departments as well. Among them is Dr. Bilal Ahmed, Dr. Shazia Yasin, Dr. Shazia Kausar, Dr. Hakim Irfan, and we have Dr. Abid, the medical officer from CUK, Dr. Shiba, the medical officer from CUK, Dr. Asif Khan, our Deputy DSW, my dear students, Assalamu alaikum, a very good afternoon. Sorry, huh? I have to sign.